So Kundalini Yoga is one of the first yogas ever on the planet, basically. It's known as a Raj Yoga, great yoga. And it encompasses all different aspects of yoga. So there's breath work, there's posture, coming up, underarms going towards each other. There's mantra, which is sound. It's a whole package of yoga.
You got to understand that the yogis, through thousands and thousands of years, they didn't have equipment, they didn't have laboratories, they didn't have emails to answer, and so they just sat with themselves as the laboratory. And they investigated every single thing that a human being does. Everything can either be what we could call demoting or promoting. So they really figured out a way to have everything a human does elevate them. And the postures include the traditional postures you see in Hatha, but they also include other things the body does, like animals when they're in trauma. This is well documented that if an animal has just escaped death, as soon as it gets away, it'll start shaking and it'll release some of that trauma. So we have exercises where you're just laying on the floor and freaking out, you know. Modern yoga is often about the body, which is important, but body, mind, spirit, emotions, we want to heal all parts of it.
Kundalini Yoga is a bunch of things to me. It's a way to have an experience of myself. I was sitting in my office at my last apartment, and I was looking at a values assessment. And I just got to the part where it said, who's a role model for you in a value? And I wrote, it was my dad. And then I wrote like big mistake or something like that. My dad was a classic archetype of the generation of baby boomers, more or less, that worked really hard, came from nothing. He was an incredible doctor. He was in the medical community in Plymouth for 35 years. You know, when the wheels start to fall off the bus, and my mom, had had enough. After everything crumbled when I was in high school, over the next 3, 4, 5 years, he just continued to degrade, more or less, digress, and his high-functioning alcoholism became mid-level to low-level functioning alcoholism. I was reading a friend of mine a letter that I had written to him. I wrote him off, certified mail. The drastic nature of all the emotions that I felt from receiving him as like my God when I was a kid, knowing his accomplishments and achievements, all of it, to the point where I watched him crumble and more or less give up. And I just said, the fall from the altered reality of your own greatness crushed all of my childhood dreams. All of them.
There's a process. So the process is help people be mindful, help them feel strong and clear so they can face their trauma. And then it starts changing. It starts diminishing. It starts actually telling them what they need.
One day it was like the universe just opened up for me and just said, okay, you're not going to do that job anymore. You're not going to work on your apparel company anymore. You've got to take this time to grieve. And so I started meditating just through a program in Arlington. And 2 months into it, I had an amazing awakening that I couldn't possibly explain to anybody, but it was my higher self, the part of me, the guru that I'm speaking of, it gave me a message. It talked to me. I'm in the middle of this ridiculous hand motion that we do here in Kundalini Yoga. All of a sudden, the eruption came, and it was all the stuff came up, and I just started sobbing, mostly in gratitude, because I'd found something that worked. And it has worked so powerfully for me that I had only been practicing for 3 months before I said, nope, that's it. I'm going to be a teacher. Take another deep breath in. Suspend the breath. And release. going through, you start by tuning in. And tuning in is a mantra, Ong Namo, Gurudev Namo. We say it 3 times. Ong is the infinite consciousness, the creative consciousness. Namo is bowing in humility. So it's kind of like you're tuning yourself, almost like you're going to tune yourself to the frequency where you set your mind and your mind body in this alignment with the divine source of the Guru. The Gu means darkness, Ru means light, from darkness to light, that teacher that we all have inside of us that's always urging us and guiding us towards our higher selves, towards that place of infinite joy.
Mantra, I like to say it's like magic. It's amazing what it can do for healing. And so kind of what you're doing is trusting the process when you step into this space and realizing that you're part of this connective, amazing healing energy that's always here for you.
When somebody's healed, they really, those memories aren't bothering them anymore, right? So, in short, emotions can and almost must be used. And if we can learn how to be safe now when we weren't safe then, we are healed.
I went through the majority of my life asking the universe all these questions and having these ideas that are now incredibly relevant to the work that I do now, but looking for answers that I didn't know came from inside me. I think whatever part of me that went through that difficult time with my dad, if it is to be believed, possibly that, you know, you as a soul or a spirit, you choose this life and you go through these tasks and lessons to learn. I think the lesson with my dad, I learned, for sure. So that part of me, I do believe, is healed. This is my journey. I just have to, you know, embrace it.